Hi guys, Writeous Rhema here, back again with another shocking relationships Bible study. Because it is still Paschal season, Paschal, which is referencing the Jewish Passover season or the American Protestant Catholic Easter season, and that's going to be from Resurrection or Easter or Passover until Pentecost, which is 50 days after Resurrection Sunday, after Passover. And so we're going to still kind of stay around these Bible verses that are around Jesus' death, burial, resurrection. So I'm going to read to y'all about how your enemies will bond off of their mutual mistreatment of you. It's kind of interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. So let's start at Luke. Go to Luke chapter 23 if you want to read along with me. Luke 23, starting at verse 1. Then the whole company of them arose and brought him before Pilate. This is the chief priests, all the hating religious leaders who hated on Jesus. They brought him before Pontius Pilate, and they began to accuse him, saying, they're talking about Jesus. And they began to accuse him, saying, "We found this man misleading our nation and forbidding us to give tribute to Caesar." Even though Jesus had them pull a whole coin out of a fish's mouth to pay taxes, that forbid us to give tribute to Caesar, and saying that he himself is Christ, a king. Because remember, the people that were saying, "Hosanna, Hosanna, save us, save us." So they were saying because he was accepting those type of titles and things like that, because he was saying he was the Son of God. They were saying that he was calling himself king, and they were trying to make like Pontius Pilate and Caesar nervous. Like, hey, I know y'all taking over, our area, but there's this guy, he's competing with you guys. So they were playing on their insecurity and fear of their political power. So they were manipulating these Roman leaders. Forbidding us to give tribute to Caesar and saying that he himself is Christ, a king. That he himself is Christ, a king. And Pilate asked him, they're talking about Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And he answered him, "You have said so." So Jesus said, "You've said it." Then Pilate said to the chief priests and the crowds, "I find no guilt in this man. Jesus is totally innocent." But they were urgent, saying, "He stirs up the people, teaching throughout all Judea and from Galilee, even to this place." So they didn't like that. Pontius didn't just believe their lying words. He knew they were lying. He knew they were trying to stir a mess. But they were not happy with, they were very urgent. They kept on trying to find accusations to make Pontius want to get rid of Jesus. Verse 6. When Pilate heard this, he asked whether the man was a Galilean. And when he learned that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him over to Herod, who was himself in Jerusalem at that time. So Pontius Pilate and Herod were both rulers over certain regions under the Roman Empire. So I'm going to tell you just real briefly. So in the biblical narrative, this is AI overview. You can put this on Google. In the biblical narrative, Herod Antipas was a tetrarch of Galilee and Perea, while Pontius Pilate was a Roman governor of Judea and Samaria. Okay, this meant Herod had authority over a specific region within the Roman province, while Pilate had authority over the entire province of Judea. So Herod Antipas, he was a ruler of a smaller territory, Galilee and Perea, as part of the Roman Empire. He was a client ruler, meaning he maintained some independence, but was ultimately accountable to the Roman authorities. Okay, so he was under Caesar's control. And Pontius Pilate, he was a Roman governor of a larger province, Judea and Samaria. This meant he had direct authority over a larger area than he did Herod Antipas, including the region Herod ruled. So he was kind of like, he was over like his other big area and then a little bit of Herod's area. And was ultimately responsible to the Roman Empire, the Roman Emperor Caesar. So that's who they were. He was like, who are these random men? These that were Roman leaders. You know how we had senators in America, we had senators, governors, mayors. They kind of over some of the same areas. And then we had the president. So they had rule like that. All right, so verse 7. And when he learned that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent Jesus over to Herod, who was himself in Jerusalem at that time. When Herod saw Jesus, he was very glad, for he had long desired to see him, because he had heard about him. So Jesus was famous. Jesus was actually he was famous. He had heard about him, and he was hoping to see some sign done by him. So he wanted to see him walk on water. Is he going to raise his dead? Is he going to multiply fish? He wanted to see a miracle. He's going to turn water into wine. He wanted to see a miracle. Verse 9, so he questioned him at some length, but he made no answer. So Herod was like, so tell me this, or da-da-da. And Jesus is unimpressed, like, he couldn't be bothered. The chief priests and the scribes stood by, vehemently accusing him. This man, So they did it before Pontius Pilate, and now they're accusing him vehemently before Herod. And this right here, and you say he ignoring you, he ain't even studying you. And Herod with his soldiers treated him with contempt and mocked him. Then arraying him in splendid clothing. So they found some really nice clothing, probably, I don't know if he came from Herod or somebody else. They put on him some splendid clothing. He sent him back to Pilate. And Herod and Pilate became friends with each other that very day. They became friends that very day over their mistreatment and mishandling of Jesus. Don't be surprised when people who were once enemies with each other, when they find out that you represent God and Christian principles, don't be surprised if they become friends over trying to talk about you, gossip about you. You see what she posted on Facebook? You see what she did? You see what she had on? You see what she said? You see what she did? People will bond over their mutual dislike of you. So it said, verse 12, and Herod and Pilate became friends with each other that very day. For before this, they had been at enmity with each other. They didn't like you. They weren't fool with each other. But because of their mutual disregard or dislike of a person, they become friends. Verse 13, then Pilate called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, and said to them, you brought me this man as one who was misleading the people, and after examining him before you, behold, I did not find this man guilty of any of your charges against him. Neither did Herod, for he sent him back to us. Look, nothing deserving death has been done by him. I will therefore punish and release him. Verse 18, but they all cried out together, away with this man and release to us Barabbas. Give us Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a man who had been thrown into prison for an insurrection started in the city and for murder. So he was probably trying to fight against Roman rule, the insurrection. He was raising up like, let's fight against these people. These Roman, I'm assuming that's what it was when you say insurrection. Somebody fighting against, against like an established power. And so he started insurrection and he was a murderer. So they're asking for a real person they accuse Jesus of stirring up the city, turn the city upside down, and trying to take over and be a king and trying to usurp Caesar's authority. The whole time it's probably Barabbas doing. He's the one starting the insurrection. He's the one starting a whole city up in an uproar. But they want Barabbas. So he was thrown into prison for an insurrection started in the city and for murder. Verse 20, Pilate addressed them once more, desiring to release Jesus. So even though, I said they didn't like him at first, they didn't mistreat him. They knew it was wrong how they were letting him go down like that. But Pilate did try to get him out of there. Remember, I read in the previous episode study, his wife told him in a dream, like, this man is innocent. So Pilate addressed them once more, desiring to release Jesus, but they kept shouting, crucify, crucify him. From a week ago, they were saying, Hosanna, Hosanna, son of David, save us, save us. And then a week later, crucify him. People will be singing your praises 1 minute and then wanting to kill you the next. That's why I don't take people compliment me a whole lot or flatter me. I'm like, I appreciate that, but if I say something you don't like in a week, you'll be somebody killing me. So I try to keep compliments and insults. Compliments and criticism at the same level because it's whatever. Verse 22, a third time he said to them, why? What evil has he done? I have found in him no good deserving death. I will therefore punish and release him. So he tried to get him out. Verse 23, but they were urgent, demanding with loud cries that he should be crucified. Crucify him! Kill him! Loud voices. And their voices prevailed. So they was overshadowing the Pontius Pilate. They were overshadowing the governor. So Pilate decided that their demand should be granted. He released the man who had been thrown into prison for insurrection and for murder, for whom they asked, but he delivered Jesus over to their will. Pontius Pilate seemed like he's codependent. He's a people pleaser. You're supposed to be the leader, the ruler of these people. You letting these people run you. He was a punk. So Pilate, trying to fit in, he became friends with Herod. He tried to please the chief priest and the crowd. He didn't want no big crazy uproar, because then he may get fired. Like, Caesar may be like, what's going on down there? Y'all, it's too much going on there. What's going on there? You may not be suitable for this position as a governor. So Pilate, to protect his own butt, to protect his position, his cushy title, his salary, his seat, and his relationship with his new friend, Herod, he decided to go ahead and let Jesus be murdered. So that's another shocking relationship Bible study. I'm telling you, the Bible, New Testament, is full of like codependent people. It's so interesting. I'm interested in codependence recovery and stuff. So A lot of codependent people in the Bible. Thanks for watching, guys. Watch my other videos. Bye.